Konnichiwa and welcome to episode 33 of the Leadership Japan podcast. And I'm your host in Tokyo, Dr. Greg Story, president of Dale Carnegie Training Japan. And much more importantly, you are a student of leadership, highly motivated to be the best in your business field. If you would like your own access to 102 years of the accumulated wisdom of Dale Carnegie Training through free white papers, guidebooks, reports, training videos, blogs, course information, plus much more, then go to japan.dalecarnegie.com. Today we are going to discuss comfort zone hell. The turning point in my career came when I stepped out of my comfort zone. This comment from Erigo Sakurai, young, impressive president of Dow Corning Japan, really resonated with one particular person in the audience at this Economist Corporate Network event, which was held in Tokyo. I had a big smile on my face because this get out of your comfort zone idea has been a prominent feature of what the founder of our company, Dale Carnegie, pioneered over 100 years ago. Yet, today in Japan, we constantly meet leaders and managers who are perplexed by their humble Japanese staff. Actually, the humble description is partly true in Japanese cultural terms and is also camouflage for a lack of confidence. Yes, Japanese culture rewards those who are self-effacing and effectively isolates or even excludes those who are self-promoting. You don't have to be confused about how to get along in Japanese society. You learn from a young age to fit in or else. The issue for companies in this current global war for talent, further accentuated by declining populations in developed countries, is how to build leaders for the future. Japan is a black hole in the global leadership firmament. Galapagos has become a pejorative term for Japan's inward focus and self-imposed isolation from the broader currents of the global business world. The Japanese inhabitants of this leadership Galapagos are inward-facing and rarely transportable out of this country. When their Japanese employers send them overseas, the old idiom of "when in Rome" has been adapted to a telling variant. When in Japan, do as the Japanese do, and when overseas, do as the Japanese do. Add to this the fear of making a mistake when overseas, and the famous salaryman's inability to make a decision really breaches new heights in the stratosphere. This type of inflexibility makes it hard to move talent from Japan around the world. The worst part of it is they don't want to go anyway. Why would you want to leave when it is also comfortable here? This is not a unique or new idea. The USA has been famous in the past for having the highly ambitious hang around the corporate headquarters to secure the important posts. And heading off to a foreign climb was tantamount to abandoning the climb up the greasy pole. That situation has changed as global business demands more international experience and capability. What about Japan? Well, we're still racing to catch up to the late 20th century here. Now, interestingly, the dilemma of self-imposed sakoku, or isolation, is intensified by global matrix organizations. As a Japanese, your boss may be some foreigner sitting in an overseas operation. That boss may even further confuse the issue by not even being a native of that country where they're located. The boss may belong to that nomadic global talent tribe, roaming the globe, doing good and leaving a trail of ever upward success. Your boss may come to visit with other senior executives, and here they are met by a stony-faced wall of serious silence in conferences, presentations, and meetings. They get back on the jet, concluding the Japanese talent gene pool is brimming with unusable, non-transportable duds. The local comfort zone was preserved during the visit, but the promotions and key posts go to the foreign nomad tribe once again. The general manager of one of the major international hotel chains here related to me that in his organization, and all of his competitors' cases as well, a meeting of Japanese general managers who are working outside of Japan could be conducted in an old-style phone booth. By definition, international hotel chains have as their clientele internationals. You would hope that a business like that would attract the rare few Japanese who want to work in that environment. However, even in this hotbed of multiculturalism, the Japanese cream has just not risen to the top. Coagulated at the bottom, everyone has stayed firmly in Japan, tucked well up under their comfort zone security blankets. Ironically, Japanese global players are now facing the same frustrations as these foreign multinationals. Hot button issues include how to get their team to have a global outlook and how to integrate their matrix operations with non-Japanese players. English is a given, so we can all welcome another boom for the Eikaiwa English education industry. Those of a more serious persuasion are packing their people off overseas for extended periods to create that global mindset. A very crusty, old-style domestic construction company noted to me recently that over the last few years they have sent, wait for it, 700 new hires overseas to build the flexibility and cultural adaptation skills they will need for the future. Wow, 700. That is an expensive proposition, especially for an industry that is still trying to recover from the Lehman shock. The elephant in the room, though, is the immovable comfort zone that operates in business here. While there is no real meritocracy operating in Japanese companies, and while it remains hard to get yourself fired in this country, there is little reward or coercion available to the system to make you do stuff. So consensus and cooperation requirements push people to go along to get along. Consequently, there are few internal levers pushing people out of their comfort zones. The logic flow is simple. Companies want improved performance, and this requires change. Change, in this case, means doing something new or altering what you've always been doing. Making that change means moving out of your comfort zone. This is where things go off the rails in Japan. Few people in Japan are proactively stepping up or stepping out of lockstep. Yet, global business requires these abilities, and we are going back to a Galapagos comfort zone heaven here. What looks like heaven is actually a hell of our own creation, a hell that will prove even more hellish in the future as the talent required to go forward are denied to foreign organizations and domestic companies alike. The turning point in many careers will require a whole tree of leaves to be taken from Eriko Sakurai's Step Out of Your Comfort Zone book. Sadly, I have found that foreign and Japanese companies here have no homegrown answers for getting their people out of their comfort zones. From what I have seen in documentaries, the Galapagos Islands are full of slow-moving tortoises and ugly, sea-swept punk rocker aquatic reptiles. Not a great model for Japanese youth to aspire to, I would have thought. Seems rather hellish to me. Thank you for joining the Leadership Japan podcast. Remember to access your Dale Carnegie training free white papers, guidebooks, training videos, blogs, course information, plus much more, then go to japan.dalecarnegie.com.